magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast.
What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night? So Transformers Slag Podcast Center live stream main event. I'm your host, Proto Man. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice that you kind of heard Monday and Wednesday and not really any of the other days because it was a busy week. And next week, there's going to be some big announcements creatively from me and all kinds of official stuff. We've been busy this week. But yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on behind the scenes. You'll learn more about it next week during the week, and then you'll get a big bombastic reveal on Saturday. Also, that same Saturday will be Toy Fair. It's all kind of interconnected a little bit. So you will all see how that all goes down. We'll get into it as the week progresses. But tonight is Saturday night. We're going to take some super chats. We're going to cover some of the news and everything that was going on this week. Most of it from the Hasbro business side of things. You guys know I like to talk about numbers. I like to talk about that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to finance. And, between the legal and the finance stuff, those things help us always guide and get a good idea of what's going to be happening in the future for our beloved brand. Who's in the chat today? Let's take a look. So we got Timmy K. What's up? We got Patrick Brown. Ash, how you doing? One of my patrons. We got Will Murphy. We got Eyes on Ace, one of my patrons. We got Patrick Brown. We got Cringe McCringles here. What's up, Cringe? I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks. Got Horned Owl. Who else do we have? Grant Brown. T-Formers 2002, someone I'll also be seeing in a few weeks. Rudy Mack, what's up? Whoever else is going to be going to TFcon in LA. Gooter, how you doing? Will Murphy, Rudy Mack. Just want to make sure I don't miss nobody before we get started today. Bigham, what's up? Ashnud, always nice to see you. Mayo Fabrication, I'll definitely be seeing you at TFcon LA. Joshua. So then, let's get into the news. It's quite a lot to discuss. Even though there wasn't a lot of news this week, the stuff that is available is quite deep to dive into in terms of discussions and everything. Oh, Dylan, you're sick. That sucks, man. That sucks. You shouldn't have licked that person's face. It's just how it is, brother. It's just how it is. So we're going to get first in the stuff that we kind of already discussed lightly during this week. Of course, not much we could really cover here, but we just got a better retail image of that Supreme Optimus, but not Supreme in terms of price point, Supreme in terms of, how do I put this, clothing brand. And hey, we're going to be getting a Supreme Optimus. We had a Bape Optimus before that. We had Nike Optimus. We had, the Fitty Nation, baseball caps. We've had so many clothing brands that want to be associated with the convoy man himself. And now we're going to be getting this one. Hey, if you want a red and yellow Optimus, as opposed to the Bape red and yellow Optimus, as opposed to Optimus that's already kind of red with yellow accents, and you really like Supreme clothing, and you want to represent that, sure. These again, we don't have a price yet. We don't have pre-orders, but this kind of stuff usually, if the Bape ones are any indication, because I remember back in the day when you got a reissue Optimus Prime through, let's say, the commemorative line or even Takara Tomy stuff, usually ran you around $79.99 at best on the high end, and then Bape would release theirs and it was $150. You were paying for, obviously, Bape paying the licensing to Hasbro, and everything. And because they're a luxury brand of clothing, they also put that luxury brand of pricing associated with that. So it's kind of the same thing here. If you want to use the Walmart exclusive Optimus Prime that we have out right now in that $89.99 or $89.97 price point, this is something that's probably going to also be in that same range. We're going to get something that's probably maybe 150, 160. That's just my guess. Supreme clothing, judging by their website, is quite expensive for a t-shirt. So, we'll see what happens with that. Haley Joseph Eveland says at least the Bape had new stickers for the inside of the trailer. Looks like there's new stickers here too. It's hard to see from. So the image on the bottom, the green one, that's from Safety Korea. Safety Korea is a website that in the past has leaked Transformer stuff because Korea has a very stringent toy safety rule market. And so they have a whole website that documents everything for the public. And sometimes stuff gets documented early before we learn about the existence of these products. So there clearly is something going on with that sticker sheet. I don't know what. It'd be kind of cool if that sticker sheet turns the whole inside of the trailer into a Supreme store. That'd be kind of funny. But we'll see what happens. We'll cover it when we get some better images. The image on the top comes from In Demand Toys. The image from the bottom comes from Safety Korea. So we will see what happens. Usually with these kind of items, the Bape one was a web exclusive and, on site with their Japanese stores. This Supreme one, maybe it's also going to be a web exclusive with on site with their Korean or maybe some of their American stores. We don't know. But the only thing I can note is, hey, it has Supreme tampographed on the inside of the windshield in that pinkish clear tint, which is a nice touch, and it has paint on the missiles that are used for the roller turret, which is also something that's never been done before with this mold in the thousands of different repaints that have existed. So that's at least something different to note. And I guess a red roller. I don't think we've ever had a red roller. Maybe I'm wrong there. I know purple's been done. Obviously, the different shades of blue for different versions. I don't think there's been a purple one. It's gonna be a red one. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But so yeah, check it out, yo, if it's your thing. But yeah, if you live and die by Supreme. Speaking of what I just talked about before, again, reminder, not this Saturday we're talking on right now tonight, but next Saturday, starting March 1st, is going to be Toy Fair New York at of course, in New York at the Javits Center. And there's going to be a lot of big announcements. One of them related to something I'm working on officially too. So all of that is going to drop next week. I get a feeling, honestly, because, and even the stuff that I'm tied to, some of that stuff I think is going to be shown early during the week. There's probably some marketing deal exclusives with IGN News and comicbook.com and some of those. So maybe some of it's going to be shown early. I do not know, but we'll see. Stick to my Twitter because if something gets revealed a little early, I'll post it on my Twitter too. But that's only, if it gets posted early because that's what always happens leading up to Toy Fair. There's different kinds of stuff. So we'll see what happens. A lot of big hype to that. A project that's been, geez, I want to say half a year to 7 months going on behind the scenes. So we'll find out what happens with that. Obviously, of course, all the Transformer related brand stuff too. Like, we're going to finally, hopefully figure out, what the heck's going on with all the other stuff. What's happening with Cyber World? What's happening with Age of the Primes? There's going to be stuff that's going to be shown off there. Evan said through his Instagram that the Onyx Prime will be on display at Toy Fair New York, so we'll see that for the first time. So there's going to be quite a few hype stuff there. There's going to be let's put it this way: next week for the Transformer Slag podcast, it's going to be a busy Saturday. It's going to be quite a hype Saturday. So I hope to see you guys next week for sure because that's when everything's going to be dropping on Saturday. I am going to be like so busy. And then imagine the weekend after that is TFcon, which is going to be a whole other crazy Saturday in LA. So it'll be pretty crazy. It'll be pretty crazy. But we will see. We'll see. Then, of course, let's get an update on what's going on with Liokaiser. So first up, for the Haslab side of things, the floodgates is now opened up for Japan specifically. Up to this point, obviously outside of USA and Canada, Europe, and then Mexico, and then South America, and then certain areas in Asia like Taiwan, China, I believe the Philippines also had access early. Finally, today, Japan time, the pre-orders are now available for Japan, who is probably, oddly enough, the most tied to this character out of all the others we've just mentioned, because it's their product more than anything and their character. So we have here Japan now being throwing their hat into the mix. We don't have any of their numbers yet, but I'm pretty sure that's going to boost everything. But as of this live stream, and of course, maybe it's gone up a little bit since I made this slide an hour ago, but we're closing in on the 13,000 mark. So that's pretty hype that we're getting close to that because, as of course, as I said before, the 13,000 mark is, of course, let me just pull them up, a good old Death Cobra. So we're getting close on 13,000 for Death Cobra. So at least we're going to be for sure guaranteed that. And again, if Japan's numbers, oops, wrong slide, haha, jumping the gun there. If Japan's slides are any indication of what they're going to be putting in, I mean, it's their item. It's you know, I'm imagining, I'm going to take a rough estimate. There's going to be probably a good 3,000 pre-orders from Japan. That's my estimate. And the only reason why I base that is because I remember a while back when they did the reissue for Fortress Maximus in Japan, the Encore edition. At that exact same time, I was doing stuff with Fun Publication, and there was the huge talk about, oh, they're going to do a Grand Max. We got to get that Pretender shell ready and everything. And I was told, and I don't have the exact numbers, but I was told that Fort Max underperformed so much that it wasn't even worth it. And usually, when those big items like that underperform, that's in like the 5,000 orders range and sales. So I imagine if Fort Max in a mass retail and Fort Max was at the time, I think he was only like $150 or something. If Fort Max in the Encore situation, and keep in mind when that Fort Max came out, I don't even think we had our Titans Return Fort Max yet. Did we? I don't remember. No, we didn't. We didn't have it yet. So like that at that time, that was like the biggest Transformer outside of our Metroplex that we got. And yeah, that thing underperformed and it couldn't get 5,000 units moved. Then when they did that Generations Grand Max, that thing didn't even get 3,000 units moved. So I'm imagining an item like this in the Japanese market, even though it's aimed at the Japanese market more than anything. I'm imagining a guesstimation of 3,000, maybe 4,000 units. But if that's the case, I mean, if it's 3,000, 4,000, that pushes us all the way up a good chunk. Like if by the time this live stream is done, we're at the 13,000 mark. Let's go back to that Death Cobra slide. So like, let's say by the end of this live stream, we're at the Death Cobra backer point of 13,000. You add another 3,000 and we're good. You know what I mean? We're good. We're getting to at least the weapon. And then anything that you want to get that stand will happen in the last 2 days anyways. What's up, Aaron? Back in good old Ohio, I see. Makes for some good live stream content over the next couple days. But yeah, so I mean, look, Japan's going to add a chunk to it. Like, and I've said before, the last 48 hours of all of this in 30 days, because this ends in 30 days. So I believe it's 30 days. Yeah. So it ends in 30 days, this, as of this recording. So I think this is going to do just fine. I stand by that. I think its price is a little, crooked a little bit, but we'll get into that in a moment. About how some of the stuff's going on, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I'm just glad that we're getting on Death Cobra because that's the only thing, honestly, that matters to me with all of this. You know, as someone that owns the original Liokaiser, even though it's fragile and I don't want to touch it, I own a bootleg World's Smallest version. I worked on the Combiner Wars version. I own pieces of different iterations of those characters that were done through different, whether it be Creo or Fun Publication through the 2009 Wings of Honor set. I own so many different versions of these guys, except for third party. I think it's the only one I don't really own much of. And to own this, it's all about that Death Cobra. That's the big part to me. Give me something I don't got. It might sound selfish, but that's what I want. I want something that's never been done before. So we'll see. We'll see. And then let's get into the big topic, the elephant in the room, in the corner, taking a lot of space. Let's talk about the Hasbro Q4 and end of year report. They had the financial call with Chris Cox, which I was in on. Then there was the 19-page report. Again, if you want to get that 19-page report, the link is available in my last segment that I did. They sent out the PDF to a lot of people, so I linked it directly in the description of that video segment that I did. So if you want to go read that 19-page report, it's there. If you want to get like the really deep specifics of non-transformer related stuff, because they go into a lot of different things. But the surface level stuff of it, because there's, and I've said this before, there's the surface level part of it that's sold to the investors of don't worry, don't pull out your investments, stay with us, here's our game plan. And then there's the reality of you read the 19-page report of what's really going on. And the long short answer of it, well, we'll start with, like, let's say the Transformer side of it. Transformers was probably one of the few brands that overperformed compared to some of their other toy brands, such as Marvel and Star Wars. Marvel and Star Wars is down 4% from last year, and that probably has a lot to do with the fact with some licensed movies that they did that underperformed, TV series stuff that underperformed. If you go to Ollie's right now, there is a lot of Marvel product there. A lot. A lot. It's pretty brutal. And it's not even like movies that are bad or TV shows that are bad. It's just people don't want to buy, a Captain Carter figure. I like a good old Captain Carter figure. Sure, why not? I mean, especially at all these prices, but there's a lot of product there that people don't want to engage with. And it's at me as a Transformer collector and someone who buys and sells a lot, um, there wasn't a lot of Transformer stuff. The only stuff that really was at Ollie's was the Beast Wars reissues. Like if you're looking for a Pterosaur, or like maybe those Beast Combiner Rise of the Beast stuff, and that was last year's product. There really isn't that much there that you could take advantage of. But if you're a Marvel or a Star Wars guy, there is so much product that's just clogging right now. So at least I could say this: if Hasbro is doing the bean counting, they could at least look at their toy brands that they have, like Transformers, and go, this one is just doing well for us. Combined with the fact, and let's be honest, every time they do a Haslab, it overperforms. So where the Star Wars ones, and dare I say even some of the Marvel ones, they do well, but then there has been Star Wars ones that didn't happen at all. That's a loss. There's a lot of different crazy stuff going on there. Big every Ollie's has like 30 cases of Eternals. I'd have to say Eternals and Eternals for Marvel, a lot of mainline Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and on the Star Wars side, anything that kind of had DNA related to that Obi-Wan TV series, those seem to be the biggest uh guilty things that seem to be hanging over. Obviously, I'm not going to pick on stuff that's 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, like the Shang-Chi and the rings. That's really old product. That's just lingering. It's just there from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they just still can't get rid of that. So I'm not going to pick on that because that doesn't reflect these reports here, especially in the Q4. But I go as much as I can, and I haven't seen Transformer One product there. Again, the only Rise of the Beast stuff that I've seen thus far has been the Beast Combiners. They seem to be the one that didn't sell as well, but it's a shame. It's a shame because I never wish badly on any of these brands because it just doesn't help the company. It doesn't help the brands. Doesn't help Marvel. But at the same time, it's like bad decisions were made, marketing choices were made poorly. And I would say, who is your audience and where are those eyeballs? Those are two questions that I always say are rarely addressed honestly in a boardroom. It's addressed, but it's never addressed honestly. And that's something that, will be a bigger discussion in the future. Um, but at the same time, it is what it is. So Chris Cox did the financial report and the investor call, and ultimately in the end, it was like, hey, we're playing to win. Like that's our strategy going into 2026. And I'm just going like, you weren't playing to win up to this point, like it really is. I mean, if you listen to some of those investor calls and you listen to, because sometimes you have people that are able to get through and ask questions to Chris or ask questions to some of the other CEOs, not CEOs, CFOs in the company. And, it's always like soccer mom number 7, who for whatever reason has 10K locked into the company and doesn't even really care about toys or anything, but they just want to know, hey, are you going to give me more money? And it's always like it's Karen da 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 from ba 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 ba. Yeah, why am I still with you if da da da? And I mean, one big thing that they did last year was before the holidays, they fired a lot of people. That brought their Q4 up. It brought also their stocks up. The sad realities of what's going on sometimes with these big companies. And it's pretty rough, and it's pretty rough. And I feel that ultimately in the end, judging by reading these 19 pages. If you don't want to read these 19 pages, the big takeaway that I take from this is what I think is going to happen. And it might not, and again, everything I say might not happen to Transformers because Transformers is actually doing well. Transformers went down 1%, but it actually overperformed more than they were planning. So it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. And I think, again, it has a lot to do with the fact where Haslab items sold very well, and all the other products that they do, whether it be Generation Selects, all the different capsule partners, like, look, like a Walmart wants to get all of these exclusives. Target wants to get all these exclusives. Amazon wants to get all these exclusives. So clearly the partners are still willing to play ball. So there's clearly good vibes in the Transformer camp from Hasbro's perspective. But at the same time, it's kind of also being pulled down by some of the other stuff that underperforms. And what I think might happen, and again, I kind of hope it happens to Transformers in a small sense, and I'll explain why afterwards. But I think what Hasbro's future is going to be for some of their other brands, again, I'm going to pre-emphasis this because too many times people don't listen to all the words I'm saying. Not so much Transformers, but I think what might happen to their other brands, I think Hasbro is going to be more open to licensing out some of the properties that they own. They already do it currently with 2 of their girl properties. Outside of their reissue line of vintage My Little Pony, all their new pony stuff is actually licensed out to another company. I think it's called Forever Toys or something. I'm not good with the girl brands, but something like that. I know that Pony isn't done completely by Hasbro anymore. And recently, their Gem and the Holograms outing. They did a Gem and the Holograms license out to Loyal Subject. Loyal Subject put out a Gem and the Holograms doll that really made, I'll tell you something, someone in this house that's a doll collector here, and we're not talking me, was saying like, man, that Gem doll for $24.99 should make Barbie feel ashamed for how much stuff that Gem doll did. But when you have those smaller companies, sometimes they want to show that they could make a really good product. And 12-inch Barbie doll comes with one accessory and it's $24.99. And then a Gem doll through Loyal Subject, licensed through Hasbro, they have to pay a licensing fee, and yet they put out a Gem doll that has a sound a bass that plays the theme song, a ton of accessories, a ton of this, a ton of that, a fancy like vintage box and everything, and $24.99. You know, almost makes me want to go, hey man, maybe we should see some companies license maybe Hasbro or some of their other stuff. We see it through already a little bit through Super 7, but I'm saying, either I feel hot and cold on that because I also feel like I don't think Transformers will ever be licensed out completely, because I think what'll just happen is Takara will just be like, "We'll do it." And that's a partnership they've had since the beginning. So I think that if ever Transformers got to a point where Hasbro's like, "We don't want to do this anymore," I think Takara will step in and go, "Then we'll do it." Because let's be real, they kind of already do it anyways. So Takara will it'll be a car robots situation. Takara will do their product, and then it'll be imported over and localized through Hasbro. Aaron could speak for that. He worked for Car Robots, aka Robots in Disguise, during that importing and localization era of 2000, 2001. So we might, at some point, I'm not saying this is happening, but at some point, if we get to that, that's what'll happen. I don't imagine, Hasbro having to license out Transformers to, Trendmaster or Spin Master or Playmates or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen per se. And I almost feel that if Hasbro had the same relationship that they had with Bandai, like they had Takara, I'm pretty sure Power Rangers would have been the same thing. They would just probably would have turned to Bandai and went, "Hey, you do it," and then we'll import it like we've done for years. We got a $2 super chat from Olden Tolbert. We're all gonna go riot if it gonna happen. No, I don't think it will. Again, I think Takara will just take the reins. I think Takara will just take the reins. If you want to get in a microcosm kind of way of what that would feel like, again, look at how Car Robots was handled, going into Robots in Disguise. Aaron Archer says the deal connects them. Hasbro cannot lick transformation play to anyone but Takara. Non-lick stuff can go into other places. Yeah, well, and the way I see it, especially, is a lot of times when Hasbro has been doing product, and we talked about it on the Toy Armada with Aaron, is it's going to be more of that action figure-y stuff. It's that more simplistic kind of stuff. That's the way I see it. It's you know, it's going to be nutty. It's going to be nutty, but judging by the 19-page report, Transformers is not the problem. So I don't think Transformers is going to be targeted. What I think is Star Wars might take a step back. I think the Marvel stuff they might have to think about more. And those are two brands they also license. So there's an extra layer of going on there. They already license out My Little Pony. They're probably going to look into other areas. They really will. And you combine that with the fact that you read some of the stuff that was said through the reports, especially through Chris Cox, where it's like, we're going to be targeting older audiences. Weren't they doing that already? And the way I see it is when you say target older audiences, that just means they're going to put up the price. It's like, oh, well, now this 6-inch figure isn't going to be a birthday present anymore. It's going to be a guy who has a 9 to 5 and disposable income. Yeah, we could ask $5 more for the exact same product. And then, we could then say, oh, it's the financial conditions of the plastic costs and the yada, 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 which sometimes that's true. And sometimes that's just a way to get them to, corporate talk, expensive or luxury brand, you know? It's just how it is. It's all in the wording. And when you sit through those investor calls, it's all about the wording. All about the wording. T-Formers 2002, let Takara cook again. Dude, I'm 100% with you. 100%. I always feel that the longevity of Transformers and the health of the brand is letting the brand be passed around hot potato by different creative minds. Even though you could say the toys in general have been developed by Takara, creatively, that was not the case. Generation 1, written in America, mostly animated from Korea through Sunbow, with a little bit of Toei in there and stuff. And then you get into like after 86, 87, you have Japan steering it creatively through the Takara 3 with Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory Zone. After that, G2, we get a little bit back to America with comic book only stuff, the odd manga here and there. And then when you get into the Beast era, now you're in mainframe entertainment, you're talking Canada. And so now that's kind of steering the ship up until Beast Machines. After Beast Machines, then you have Car Robots and the Unicron trilogy. So creatively, you have a little bit of America, but you also have Japan creatively with their partnerships. So it moved around. But after that first Michael Bay movie, it's been strictly in America up to this point. Has there been some little manga stuff here and there? Of course there was. Naoto-san did a little manga. Sakamoto-san did little manga stuff. There's little, one shot and small little magazine exclusive stuff here and there. But when we're talking mainstream media and steering the fiction, it's been pretty much American since 2007. And when you think about that, We're 2 years away from 2007's 20th anniversary. So that means almost 20 years of Transformers being pretty much steered by the American people. And I'm not saying the American people do anything wrong. I'm just saying that you have to throw the potato around a bit. You got to go, okay, Japan, your turn now for 3 years. Okay, America, your turn now for 3 years. Oh, Canada, your turn now for 3 years. Hey, Nirvana Entertainment that's almost going bankrupt that did like Beyblade and some of the other stuff. Hey, you're going to do it for 3 years, Like it's just that's the way I see it, you know? Let's look at some of the chat here. Sarah, a toy company that no longer wants to make toys. Well, that's something that I felt for a while now. I felt Hasbro for years have had a deep partnership with Lucasfilm and after that through Lucasfilm's sale and Marvel's sale to Disney. They look at Disney and they go, "Why can't we be the guys that just sit back and everyone pays us?" You know, we have these IPs. Why don't we do that? But the problem is two of their biggest IPs are stuff they don't own. They don't own Star Wars and they don't own Marvel. And so they're always in this kind of fear where if they let go of those IPs, a Todd McFarlane or a NECA or whoever will grab it and then they're going to run with it and they're not going to let go. So they want to hold on to that. They don't want to lose that. And they just have to do what they can to keep fans happy to some degree and still also be able to make money. And that's a very terrible and difficult thing, unfortunately, to balance because sometimes they're just like, ugh, yeah, again, you go to Ollie's, man, and the two biggest sores for them has been Marvel and Star Wars. And there's a lot of lost money there. We're not talking a Walmart exclusive, Surrey copter from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, you know, clogging things because that Surrey copter was mainstream. That was in every single Target, that was in every single Walmart, that was in every single Toys R Us here in Canada, and now thousands of them are in every Ollie's. And I think they're going to be there for a very long time and they can't get rid of them because nobody cares, you know? So it gets into a kind of situation where they ask themselves like, okay, well, what do we own? So we own Transformers. Transformers is doing well. Okay, we'll keep doing that. What else do we own? And that's where it becomes difficult because you have GI Joe and I love GI Joe. I just want keep in mind, guys, when I say something negative, it does not mean I hate that brand. I am just stating the freaking facts of numbers here. GI Joe literally keeps its nose above water. It just survives. It just does well enough. But it doesn't do enough for it to like have confidence in fiction. And when I mean fiction, I mean investing in a partnership to do an animation, a movie. Look, we got to, whenever you have to do a crossover with another company, it's because you're propping one up when one is down. And I mean, I personally feel that doing a G.I. Joe Transformer crossover movie is not a good idea. And I love G.I. Joe, but I don't think it's the right time and place. I think that's an idea that should have happened in 2009 if it didn't happen already in the 2007 movie. See my rants on that. But I feel it should have happened then. When Michael Bay, Mr. Army number 1, I think they missed the boat on that one a while back. And when you're coming out of GI Joe having not the best public branding and not a lot of people, caring, and you're now going to tie it to Transformers that had two, like, Rise of the Beast broke even and, Transformers 1 underperformed. And then you're going to tie G.I. Joe that underperformed. I mean, yeah, it's not taking peanut butter and chocolate and making Reese's. It's taking, white bread that's kind of plain and white bread that's kind of stale, that being the G.I. Joe one, and putting those two together and going, here's your sandwich. You gonna eat this? No? No? Are you looking at your phone again? We got to get them to stop looking at the phone. And that gets into the next thing that they discussed. Good old segue. The next thing, which is their belief in looking into digital for the future. And actually, one more thing I want to talk about with licensing. They mentioned here, and this was fascinating, a emphasis on themed hotels, themed cruises, and more pop-up kind of stores. So the first two to unpack those. So picture the kind of not really successful HasCon that I went to in 2016. I think Larry's in the chat, who was one of my buddies that I went there with. Ultra Primal I went with also. Who else did I go with? I think Pulse Dragon was there. So that didn't do well when they did the Hasbro convention in Rhode Island. Did not do well. And now they want to do a cruise, Hasbro themed hotels. I want to go to the Optimus room. It has a transforming bed, you know, plays the touch with a mirror on the top of the roof. Ooh, it's getting spicy, you know. But I mean, those are some interesting choices that they're going with of what they kind of want to do in the future. But again, if they are a licensing company and they want to license out their stuff and they could convince Holiday Inn or, a Marriott or whatever to go all on in on this silliness, then hey, they'll get their money. And whenever you get someone to license your stuff, it's not your problem afterwards if they're successful with it. You got your money. Cringe McCringle, I doubt the cruise and hotels will actually happen because who is actually going to want to visit? Well, that's the thing. If HasCon in 2016 was considered a failure, and I was there on the ground floor of that convention, day one, and by Sunday I just wanted to go home. How many conventions you've gone to where you're just like, you know what? You wake up Sunday morning, you're just like, let's just go home. That's how bad it was, you know? So I don't know what they're kind of imagining with that. Maybe they're just spitballing, but it's something where I don't know where they want to go with that. I really don't. But then you look at the talk of the digital stuff. And this is something where I'll give them credit where you kind of are going in the right direction, but not that it's a good thing, but it's unfortunately the right direction that they have to go to if you look at how the world is right now. And it's the focus on digital and video games, cell phone games, digital goods. I mean, all the Transformer games that we've gotten recently have all been licenses. It's all been companies, whether it be Drip Drop Studios or Outright Games or any of these cell phone games that have skins and stuff. It's all licensing. It's all a company pretty much going like, hey, man, it is what it is, but they're willing to pay a license so they could have a skin of Bumblebee in my, world of tanks or whatever. So they see that and they go, let's get more of that. Let's get more of that stuff. Let's try to get more Transformer game stuff out there. Now, obviously, what do we want? Well, of course, we want our AAA War of Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron high tier game with amazing online play and blah blah blah. We want that. We don't want to have to turn into Fortnite and then tune in and that's how we're going to get our Bumblebee skin. That's how we're going to get our Bumblebee gaming on or a mid-tier cell phone game. It is what it is, but the way I see it is if you want to grow the brand for the future, you're going to have to look at gaming. It's just an unfortunate reality. I saw through Street Fighter being a good example. By the Street Fighter characters being available on Fortnite, there was a whole audience of teenagers that didn't play Street Fighter. They don't play fighting games. They don't play Street Fighter 5 at the time of Street Fighter 5. 6 is out now, but they don't play Street Fighter 5. They don't care about 4 that came before it. They don't go to arcades. They don't play competitively. But now they're playing Fortnite and there's Chun-Li, there's Ryu, and then they're all of a sudden identifying with those characters. And then the licensing continues because then, maybe I want to get a Funko Pop of Chun-Li. So now you're buying a Chun-Li Funko Pop, and Funko also pays Capcom for Chun-Li's license from Street Fighter. So it's that domino effect that exists that Capcom goes, if we put our characters in these situations where the eyeballs are, other licensees are going to want to play ball too because they want to get a piece of the pie in different ways, you know? So we'll see how that goes. But I feel that it's the smart route. It's definitely the smart route. You have to go video games because that's where the eyeballs are. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. You got to do that. You have to. And it's not just for Transformers, it's any of their brands. If kids aren't going to be watching a G.I. Joe cartoon, they sure as hell ain't buying toys. You got to make a video game out there that's so good that makes them want to do that. Look, if Halo didn't have a video game and it was just a comic book, no one would be talking about Halo today. You know, that's the reality. It's brands that sell so well. It even has a little bit to do with some of the stuff I bought today, which we'll get into later. I bought some stuff today that's video game related, but it's something where a better example I could probably even give is Among Us. If you divorce Among Us's mainstream success during the lockdowns and everything, no one's buying those toys. No one would have bought those toys. But there was this brief moment where the whole world loved this game, and then they wanted to own these little hazmat suit HD SD little figures of these cute little guys in different colors, and there was money to be made and companies licensed to be able to be a part of that action. And for a brief moment, there was Among Us toys on the shelves and it made money and then it went away, just like when the game went away. But it shows the power of a video game and then licensing for that video game. When you get deep into it, when you get really deep into it, but it's something, if there was no Halo video game, you wouldn't even be having this conversation. You wouldn't even be having those conversations. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I like where they're going. I mean, at the end of the day, and here's the other thing that I didn't address. Magic the Gathering was carrying. I want to do a meme image. There's this picture. It's like an African mechanic, and he's carrying like an engine on his head. And people always use that meme to like compare like to companies or something. I want to have that African mechanic being the Hasbro logo. And then, excuse me, not, I want the engine that he's holding is the Hasbro logo, and the African mechanic being Magic the Gathering. Because Magic the Gathering, if you look at the numbers, oh my goodness, they have been carrying the company. And considering that they're going to be doing a Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering set that is already selling out everywhere. And guys, if you saw the numbers on this, you want to complain about a $300 Liokaiser? Because I know I am. I'm guilty of it. $300 for Liokaiser. We're going to get Death Cobra, all that stuff. Magic the Gathering. 100 cards. One of them is foil. It's Cloud Strife. $300. Oh, by the way, there's 4 of these sets. One with Terra from Final Fantasy VI. I'm not going to go deep into it if you're not a Final Fantasy fan. And there's going to be play boosters, collector boosters. Let's just get to the Hasbro case. They're going to be doing bundles. This is the set that just came before. Bundles. They're going to be doing, what's this one here? They're going to be doing pre-release kits. They're going to be doing holiday bundles. They're going to be doing collector boosters. The collector boosters for Final Fantasy, you get 12 packs. I think when you factor it in, 12 packs, 12 cards, it's going to be $800. Magic the Gathering is carrying that company. And considering the fact, sorry, I'm just going to put all this stuff back. And considering the fact that it costs nothing to manufacture, it's all cardboard. It's all cardboard, you know? This box for Tasmanian Kid is, according to Hasbro, supposed to be thrown out after you buy it, right? But if you took all the cardboard that it took to make this Tasmanian Kid box, including the insert, it's more expensive than a pack of Magic cards. And a pack of Magic cards makes them way more money than this piece of cardboard that gets thrown out. That's what's so wild about it. And Magic the Gathering cards, unfortunately, are of a lower quality compared to most other card companies. It's insane. And this Final Fantasy set that's going to be coming out is going to give them record numbers. and it's going to just remind them even more. It's going to be the gaming space, and it's going to be the digital world where it's all this loot box, kind of thing going on. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely nuts. Yes, Timmy, Terra is going to be one of those collector booster packs over $300 for 100 cards, and one of those cards are foil. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. So yeah, it's they're going to be just fine financially. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Hasbro's going bankrupt." No, they're not. If anything, they're making tons of money. They're making tons of money from that other stuff that carries it. But when we're talking Transformers, that's doing well. Look, we were just talking about, let's bring it up here. This guy, no, where's the other slide? This guy is probably going to do very well too. It's something where let's do an estimation, right? Okay. Japan's backing opens today. All right. Let's say that brings in another 3,000. Let's say this ends at 25,000 backers, right? Let's say he gets 25,000 for Liokaiser, right? At 300 a unit, you know, that means they're going to get $7.5 million from this guy. 7.5 million bucks locked in. And then, of course, they don't give us the product right away. They're going to sit on that 7.5 million for a year before we see anything at our doorstep. And like when they get that 7.5 million and they sit on it for a year, they just put it in their bank, right? No, they're a S&P 500 company. They're going to invest it. So they're going to turn that 7.5 million, even if they put it into a blue chip 3% stock over every month, they're going to make plenty of money from that 7.5 million. And that's I might be getting a little into the weeds of the finance side of it for big business, but the point is that that's going to do just fine for them on its own. They'll do just fine. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Cringe McCringe. I wonder what of that 7.5 million becomes when we talk about profit. Cringe. I said this before on a live stream. I have from a former Kenner employee the factory receipts for Beast Wars Series 3 manufacturing costs for Transquito. Okay, so Mega Class. He told me I can't talk about, I have them. I'll show them to you, Cringe, because I trust you. I'll show them to you in person. But it is wild how cheap it is to manufacture this product. It is wild. It is wild. So, and Aaron Arch says the toy also pays for the manufacturing and the shipping and preloaded development. Yeah, of course. Well, here's the thing. All this stuff is already developed, You think they were waiting for our money before they were going to develop the toys? It's all made already. You think they waited for us to do all of that? It's all done. It's all done and ready to go. So it's a deeper discussion. It's something where I could go hours talking about the finance side of it, where to allocate your money, how to do all of this, but those are so many different discussions for so many different groups of people that'll care about that. I know there's people that listen to the podcast that don't want to hear about finance at all. They hate it. So it's something where I get it. And that's why I'm going to kind of focus on the Transformer side of things. And, Cringe, I'll show it to you because I trust you, bud. But it's like, it's something where, it's nutty. It's nutty. Thank you for subscribing, Joy TO36. It's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty how it all goes down. But I think that the only thing people have to worry about, it won't be us guys. All Transformer fans, here's what we have to worry about. Will there be another decent theatrical movie in the near future? That I don't think so. That's something that we might have to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years before we kind of get back to that. Television show, something's cooking. So that's coming. New toy lines, something's cooking, stuff are performing well. Adult-based lines, our Age of the Primes, our masterpieces, those are still rolling out. So those are all still good for going into 2025, 2026. So we're good on that. But if you're a Marvel fan, if you're a Star Wars fan, Gem is actually, if you're a Gem fan, let's just say Loyal Subject is very happy with how things turned out there. But some of those other brands, there might be a little more sketch. If you're a fan of Magic the Gathering, the only thing I say to you is hold on to your wallet. Oh boy, hold on to your wallet. I'm a huge Magic guy, but it's like, hold on to your wallet. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I'm glad they send me some stuff here and there, but I doubt any of that Final Fantasy stuff's coming my way. That is going to be ludicrous what's going to go on with that. I'm just going to buy singles if they do a VV or a lock from Final Fantasy 6 or VV from 9 or a Terra giggity, you know, I'll pick those up. I'll buy the singles. I'm not going to buy a $800 collector booster box. Oh my god, the madness of cardboard cracks sometimes. But yeah, so that's it more or less for the news. I mean, we'll probably discuss more as how much time we still got another hour left, but we'll talk more as the evening progresses tonight about the business side of it. But first, again, we'll do some sponsor stuff. We'll talk about what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks and everything. We'll talk about some cool stuff I picked up today. Nothing too major, but still cool stuff I figure some people will appreciate. So let's first get into sponsors. Symbiote Studios, plush pins and t-shirts. Symbiote is going to be doing a amazing appearance at TFcon LA. So be sure if you're at TFcon LA to check out Symbiote Studios booths. They're going to be bringing a whole bunch of plushes in person, so you'll be able to see just how big these suckers are, because they're a lot bigger than. Look, I got this big old basketball hand, my 6'1". These things are huge. They're not like tiny little plushes. So Symbiote Studios plush pins and t-shirts. Check them out, yo. I'm rocking their Grimlock shirt. They're going to have t-shirts. They're going to have pins. They're going to have plush. They're going to have all kinds of stuff. Go harass Joseph, who runs the company. Tell him Proto Man sent you. Lick the side of his face. Don't lick the side of his face. But it is what it is. Again, and stuff sells out, guys. The one thing people keep asking me, like, hey, when are they going to do Unicron again? When are they going to do Hound again? It is what it is. Stuff gets retired. Sometimes if the demand is huge, they might do a second run, but they'll make it a little different. They never completely re-release an item. They'll re-release it and they'll modify the eyes, or they'll change the color of the hands, or do a G2 version or something. So, but yeah, get them while you can, guys, before they sell out. They do all the other video game brands, a lot more partnerships coming in the future, and a lot more reveals on the Transformer side of things. And of course, if you're a pony, if you're a brony, if you're a clopper, I don't know what you guys use as a term anymore. Sure, there's people screaming, but there's a lot more pony stuff coming. A lot more pony stuff coming. That seems to be the best seller for the company. My Little Pony, man. A lot of My Little Pony. But yeah. And of course, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Aaron's in the chat with us today, rocking out from Ohio. And yeah, new segment came out a few weeks ago, the Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. We talk about some Energon goodness, also a little bit of Transformers 2007 interconnected tissue at the end of it. So go check that one out if you want to learn about the history of Kicker, Highwire, the Quintessons, and all of that Hasbro produced goodness and stuff. Very good segment. Check it out, yo. And of course, TFcon LA is coming very soon, March 7th to the 9th. Aaron will be available on the 8th and the 9th at his booth at TFcon LA. He's going to be selling Volume 3 of The Art of Transforming Robots, as well as the leftovers of Volume 2 that he has, the scant leftovers that are left. I cannot promise you that there'll be a lot of them there, because there's not many left of Volume 2. So if you have not picked up Volume 2, I suggest possibly, if you're not coming to the show, reserve it from his website, archermonster.com/shop, so you don't miss out. Get the beautiful collection of them. Aaron has said, and he could confirm in the chat here, he will be doing a reprint of Volume 1 at some point with a different cover. Nothing is confirmed just yet. Cringe McCringle, oh my god, I forgot to mention Proto. I applied for the toy team lead at the Target near me. Ah, fantastic. Fantastic. Rock out, Cringe. Rock out, my man. That is fantastique. We'll talk more at the show anyways. We'll talk at LA. But yeah, so Aaron will be at LA. So check him out. We'll have a cool booth. Aaron will have all his Posca paintings. Of course, this is not a representation of what'll be there. This is just because Aaron hasn't really been updating it because, well, we're all getting ready for TFcon LA. What's up, David Cabal? How you doing, my man? Um, yeah, so get ready for TFcon LA. And it's going to be wild, my friends. It is going to be wild. I feel since the BotCon era is gone since 2016. I know there's another BotCon. No offense to those guys who run that BotCon. I think it's probably a super fun show, but it's not the Fun Pub era. Fun Pub, you go to a Fun Pub era BotCon in the West Coast back in the day. Oh man, you're gonna have the movie prop cars there. You're gonna have like 17 guests. It was wild back then. But TFCon LA has that vibe. TFCon LA's got that there. So it's something where, you know, I have to honestly say, if you could put yourself in a situation where you could get to TFCon LA, check it out, yo. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I'm going to be there with Aaron. We're going to have a nice little booth rocking out. Symbiote Studios will be there. A lot of voice actors. I think they're up to 39 voice actors right now, with still more to be announced. It's going to be pretty wild. A lot of exclusive voice actors that have yet to do a Transformer convention. Transformer 1 voice actors, not the big ones, but hey, you want to get Jazz's voice? I know Jaws D does. So it's going to be a wild show. Check it out. We're going to have, of course, our little exclusives for people who couldn't get them before. These will be available at TFCon LA, our little Pokemon Transformers. Little cartridges with art by Damon Batt, designed by Vince Studios. So we'll have those available at the booth. There you go, with original art there by Damon. A lot of good stuff going on there. We'll have trading card stuff for sale. Aaron will have all his amazing art. And maybe some other stuff too, because if next week Toy Fair is going to be doing a big reveal on stuff I'm working on, maybe we'll have some stuff at the booth too. We'll see. We'll see how things pan out. But stay tuned for that, of course. And of course, Aaron's also going to have the museum level paintings. I hope he's going to bring a bunch of those because those always look amazing in person to see those. I mean, these images don't do it justice. These do not do them justice, especially the Unicron one. That Unicron one I've seen in person, and it's got layers on layers of awesomeness. So yeah, check it out, yo. Check it out. Again, it's gonna be in 2 weeks from now. It's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be pretty crazy. Victor Wong will be there. It'll be your second TFCon. Well, congratulations, Victor. I hope to see you there. I hope to see you there. Swing by the booth and say hi. But yeah, so stuff that we got, nothing too major. Typical Proto Man, always looking for deals. Again, I collect Transformers and I collect video game merchandising. And this wave finally showed up. I never saw this in retail, but it was in clearance. So Winners, aka Marshalls in Canada, $7.99 Canadian. That's like $5 American. Blue Shy Guy. That's awesome. I love my Shy Guys. Koopa Troopa. Awesome. Can't go wrong with $5 with that. But here's what came in the mail. So one thing with a lot of these World of Nintendo items is, so this is one I picked up a while. I think this is in Walmart right now, actually. So this is the Breath of the Wild Link. And when I first picked this up, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to crack this open, put it in my display. And then a certain pre-order dropped. And I was like, oh boy. Well, that's the end of that. So this came in the mail. This is the Figma Breath of the Wild DX Edition book box link, which is crazy. You can see all the stuff that it comes with. So this is like $10. I think this was 80. So there's a difference if you want to talk toy numbers and you're talking Japan, America, adult market, crazy 1,000 pieces, tons of paint, 2 accessories, probably 17 points of articulation. Still a good figure. Don't get me wrong. It still looks pretty sweet. But different worlds, you know. So pick that up. That also came in the mail, and then that also means there's also one of her coming. So this one too. These are probably going to go up on the chopping block at a local video game convention for me here. We'll see. I will see how I feel. I'll see how I feel. If I'm going to open up the Figma one, if I like it, we'll see. We will see. Uh, where we at? Where we at? Rudy Mac. Michael Butcher, what's up, my friend? Oh, you're going to be at TFcon this year. Oh, nice. Again, TFcon LA that's $10 Canadian. Canadian. So, and these ones were $7.99. See, it's funny because they say 15, but I know that's bull. But it's $7.99 Canadian. These ones, so these are like $5 American. You know, always buy on sale. Respect your money. I just wait. I always wait because it all comes around. You know, there's very stuff like this. If I don't buy it when it's in retail, what's the consequence? You know, it's going to be on eBay plentifully. It's going to be at every convention I go to, whether it be regular toy conventions or Transformer conventions. The consequence for mass retail products is a little different than, like this is a different story. This is something where it's a little more tougher to get, when that window closes, especially on Good Smile. And if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Oh, you live in LA. Well, there you go. Perfect. So you don't even have to drive. I mean, you don't even have to take a plane. Me, it's going to be a long flight. Ugh, you know, it's a long flight. We saw them for $10 in the States. Yeah, well, again, your dollar is way more powerful than our dollar. I always tell people, why don't you, if you're a border living city, cross over, go to a Walmart in Canada, and use that magic money that you have to get some deals. Because I know in 2008 when it was reversed, oh, I did. When George Bush Jr. was president and he led to a bad recession, and then by 2008, the Canadian dollar for the first time in like 20 years was actually beating the American dollar. Oh, I raided the border and went to New York. How long for you, Proto? About a 4 to 5 hour flight for me. So I have to go from Montreal to Chicago. There's going to be a 45-minute layover, which I pray I don't miss it because that sometimes happens. Probably all in all, 6 hours for me, my flight, maybe more, 7. And then same thing going back, more or less. We'll see, again, there's been some BotCons in the past where flights get missed. So because they put them too close together or your flight gets delayed and then you miss your connection, it'll happen. It'll happen. And for the individual that's asking, oh, where is he? He fell over. Yes, I do. Only a lot of the vintage ones I have tons of them in the garage. My garage is Lego City. Most of it not even because of me, because of her. She's the Lego person, not me. Me, when it comes to Lego, it's a little bit of Bionicle. I liked back in the 90s, Spyrius was kind of this cool little set that I liked, but I never really was a big Lego kid growing up. Like I was actually building model kits in the 90s when I was a kid. I kind of liked doing that more than Lego. But she loves Lego. That's her baby. Lego, Playmobil, she loves that stuff. T-Formers 2002 for me, it's 2 separate flights, so it's going to be fun since I'm figuring out flight travel. Yeah, it's a bit messy. It's a bit messy, unfortunately. A lot of people I know, they're telling me they're going to be flying in on Thursday because the Fridays are just crazy. So it is what it is, unfortunately. That's the only negative. I love the West Coast shows. They're always the best shows, but they're also the longest shows for me to travel. Like if you told me, which would you rather? TFCon in the East Coast and it's like Baltimore or like not Baltimore, like Chicago, or TFCon and it's LA, I rather LA. And it's not even for the weather thing, and by the way, that's going to be another problem because I am going to be getting on a plane with my winter jacket and boots, and then I'm going to be arriving somewhere where all of that is going to be pointless. So I'm going to have to figure something out. I literally am thinking of jumping into my car and getting my girl to drive me and drop me there. And then I'm literally going to be in like summer clothing and I'm going to jump out of the car in the freezing cold and then run into the airport. And then I'm going to do the same thing when I come back because I do not know. I don't want to have to drag around a huge winter jacket and boots and everything, and the boots are going to be covered in slush and snow. And then I'm going to have that in my suitcase with my cool Transformer stuff and my art that I'm going to buy. So I'm gonna have to figure out something with that. It happened to me in the past. One of the past TFcon LAs, not LA. I think it was TF BACon when it was in the West Coast. It was the same thing. It was like crazy snowstorms and ice, and then you get into a plane, you get over somewhere, and it's beautiful tropical environment, you know. So I'm gonna have to figure out something with that too, because we've been getting hit with tons of snow the past couple of days. It's been wild, absolutely wild. Uh, let's see. You did that in December, Rudy Mac. You got sick. Well, me, I'm just gonna, I'll figure out something. I've done it before, and I don't really get sick ever, so I don't have to really worry about it. It's more just I don't want to have to drag around a huge jacket and winter boots, you know, because winter boots suck for conventions. You don't want to have to walk around in winter boots. So I'm gonna play it by ear. Still got 2 weeks to plan. A lot of other stuff. I mean, the only stuff that I have ready for the show right now is just the exclusives. That's it. And then again, depending on what my uh, individuals, I don't want to go too deep into it, want to reveal at Toy Fair, will then lead to probably some other extra stuff that I might bring with to TFCon LA. Because depending on what is publicly known, I'll then bring some little things here and there. But we will see. We will see. That's all a whole other conversation. But yeah, that's all I got. Got me some Super Mario's and some Legends of the Zeldas. Got some of those. Not much else, unfortunately. We did some toy hunting. There was a Pokemon event that was happening at Toys R Us, so I picked up the promos from that. I probably should have brought those downstairs, but there was some Pokemon event stuff going on. That's about it. Just a quiet weekend before the eye of the storm, which is Toy Fair next weekend, and then the weekend after that, TFCon LA, and then I could relax for a bit, for a little bit, until TFCon Toronto. So have a few months there, and in between that, we're gonna have some of the conventions I run here in Montreal. We'll have High Score Con, Free Comic Book Day, a lot of other crazy stuff too. T-Formers 2002. I get to wake up at 4 a.m. and then depart at 7 a.m. I think that's probably what my flight is going to be too, T-Formers. So you're not alone there. I think I'm waking up at like 5 a.m. to catch an 8 a.m. flight, something like that. So, because I know I worked it out in a way where I'm able to leave and then my girl could take the car and then she could go to work or something. It's going to get crazy though. It's going to get absolutely bananas. I don't mind Gooder, I don't mind early flights that much only because when they're long flights, it gives me just an excuse to sleep on the plane, you know? And I have problem sleep. I don't have like, you know, too much problem sleeping on the plane. I mean, it's not easy. It's not that easy. I still don't understand how people could like knock out on a plane, but close your eyes, kind of lean on the wall and then hope for the best. That's why I always get a window seat. So I could just kind of like yeah, and just try to knock out a little bit. Yeah, when you're going back in time. Well, that's the one thing that sucks about going to the West Coast is when you go there, it's not even going back in time. Time doesn't move. You like if you leave at 7 a.m. from Montreal, you arrive in LA in general, but mind you, I have a layover. But let's say I had a direct flight. If you have a direct flight from Montreal to LA, you leave at 7 a.m., you arrive at 7 a.m. That's kind of how it works. Like you just stay in. When you're going home, on the other hand, you lose everything. You leave at 7 a.m., You get home, it's like, oh my God, it's already like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. By the time you get your suitcase, by the time you go back through US American customs and Canadian customs, and then you get home, it's like 9 o'clock. You lost your whole day. And I've done that so many times. So many times. Guillaume, I will try to go to High Score Con this year so I could finally meet you. Yep. For anyone that wants to know, I run a convention in Montreal called High Score Con. It's a video game convention. And it's a video game convention. We sell video game merchandise and video game stuff. And we have a whole bunch of TV screens where you can play video games. It's a very simple show. It's $5 to get in, $5 Canadian. So it's like $3 American. It's just a fun show that I run. I do it with a bunch of my other buddies. We all kind of just get together. It started originally as just an excuse to get rid of old collection stuff. And then it just kind of grew into like, hey, let's just do this all the time. It's fun. We'll bring fight sticks. My buddy Newt, who might be in the chat today, he brings like Street Fighter fight sticks, and we play Street Fighter, and we have old video game consoles. Like we'll get like those consoles that have a whole bunch of games dumps on them. Hey, here's every Nintendo game. Here's a CRT. Go play. Go play Mario Kart. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. They're always fun. I do them twice a year, and they're always fun. They're easy to run. I show up at like 6 a.m., set up the con, my dealers show up, we do our thing, and then we go home. We have fun. We all go out to eat afterwards, and it's very easy to do. I bring 2 TVs, I bring some stuff to sell. I keep it simple. Uh, where are we at? Aaron, what are you saying here, Aaron? I once fell asleep before we took off to Tokyo and woke up when we landed in Chicago. Lucky you. See, that's my thing, man. I wish, like, when you do the Asia trips, I wish I could have that. I want to, like, oh, I'm going to be doing like a 13-hour flight. I want to like sleep 8 hours of it if I can. I wish I could do that, but I don't know. I can't sleep like their chairs are not comfortable, and I can't sleep sitting up like that. So it's like I could kind of like like I call it half asleep, like you're just kind of eh. But usually what I do is, I'll watch like a movie. Like what did I watch going to San Diego? San Diego Comic-Con, I watched the Chip and Dale movie. I watched I think the first season of Winning Time, which is a basketball drama based off of the Celtics and the Lakers, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. And I just watched that stuff just to kind of burn time, you know. When you watch one movie, you pretty much eat up 2 hours, and then you watch like a TV series that have hour episodes, and you're almost home. So, how big physically is High Score Con? How many CRTs in total do you gather? What I do is I tell my dealers, and again, because I don't care about making money at this show, I tell my dealers, if you bring a CRT television with a screen, you get a second table free. So that's the deal that I do with them. You pay for your first table, but if you bring a CRT or just a screen in general with a system for people to play games, your second table is free. That's the rule that I have. And then I tell them, look, hey, if you bring a TV, and the TV takes, you bring a smaller television or even a flat screen, like something like a computer screen, that takes 12 inches, 14 inches. The rest of that 6 foot table is all yours to fill with as much stuff as you want to make money. So a lot of people take me up on that. To my knowledge right now, I think we have 15 screens with 15 stuff, and that includes me. I'm going to have 2. I know my buddy Julian, Pulse Dragon, which you've seen sometimes at TFcon, he's going to be bringing 2 screens. I know Newt's going to be bringing. I know a bunch of other guys are going to be bringing. Size-wise, the con, it's a modest show. If you've been to TFCon Toronto, it's probably half the size of that. I keep it simple. We don't have guests per se. We'll have artists. We have a guy who worked on, box art for like Western, Nintendo Power stuff. But that's only because he's a local here in Montreal and he does all the shows anyways. But in general, we don't really have guests. It's a one-day show that I run where we get all the video game collectors in Montreal to hang out, sell stuff or resell stuff because there's guys who buy and resell, video game merchandise, video game stuff. There's gonna be Pokemon card collectors. We just play games. It's an excuse just to have a fun day. That's what it is. It's just a way to have a fun day, you know. Because I love video games. It's always been a big part of my childhood. Again, I was a kid of the '80s. So I was right there for Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, Sega, the console wars against Sega. Like I love that stuff. Again, my screen name's Proto Man from Mega Man. Look at the stuff that I bought today. You know, do I love Transformers? Of course I do. It's one of my biggest passions of my entire life. But if there's one other thing that I could connect, it's that. And video games, as opposed to Transformers, has a lot more of a communal kind of thing, especially when it comes to like the playing of the games. So it's fun to run conventions where you could have that communal aspect. You know, a guy will come, he'll bring a TV with 4 N64 controllers or 4 N64 bootleg controllers, because usually they don't use their real ones because they don't want them to get damaged. Like again, and people have fun. Fight sticks, people playing fighting games. That's very much a thing that we do at High Score Con. So fun stuff. Where are we at? Where are we at? Sarah is Hasbro theme park in Mexico, and there is not Transformer toys, just Funkos and Blockies. Well, you can't go wrong with the Blockies. Can't blame you with that one. But I think probably there's a possibility that the park that you have might be a licensed park. You know what I mean? It might be one of those things where it might not be officially Hasbro. It's more like a company, like a Six Flags ownership company licensed it from Hasbro, and then of course they probably are then given like a hey, if you want to put stuff in your gift shop, here's all these other licensees that we work with also. And because look, if you're talking Funkos and Blockies, those are two licensees. And the funny thing is the UK Transformer store that opened up recently. I remember Simon Furman took a whole bunch of photos of the inside of the store, and it was all licensed stuff. Everything. It was the Lego stuff, the Blockies, the Funkos, the model kits, you know. The comic books. They have the comic books there, which is also licensed. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah. But getting back to what I was saying before, though, when it comes to what's happening with Hasbro with the future, and I just feel that going back to what we were talking about before, maybe a half an hour ago, I feel that the brand is just fine. Like I've said before, I feel like we're kind of we're not in 1992, which was the worst year in Transformers history, in my opinion. If you had to look at like what was going on at the time, like if you were a Transformer fan in 1992, you were starving. There was nothing. It was pretty rough. Um, but I think we're kind of like we're in the Beast Machines era right now, where Transformers is doing well. The stuff that currently has come out kind of misfired. Beast Machines misfired. The show was hot or cold with people. But then there's other great stuff elsewhere, because while Beast Machines was out and people were watching that, Car Robots existed on the other side of the globe, and we were loving that stuff. We were watching Car Robots, we were importing those toys if you had the opportunities. So I feel like we're kind of in that era right now where it's not bad right now, but it's not great either. We're just kind of in between. Paul with the $2 super chat, which is more popular and profitable, Pokemon or Magic the Gathering? Pokemon overall is way more popular. Way more popular. Magic the Gathering makes a lot of money from a cost basis and a margins for Hasbro, because they have a lot of whales, as we call them. Whales are people that just buy everything, and price is not an issue. But they have a lot of whales, Wizards of the Coast, aka Hasbro, that buy all their Magic the Gathering product, but they don't have a huge amount of audience. There's no Magic the Gathering cartoon. There's no Magic the Gathering. There is a comic book, but it's in short bursts. Oh, hey, IDW is going to do like 3 issues and then do nothing for like a year. So there's no like ongoing Magic the Gathering comic book or something that's really telling an ongoing story. They do once in a while, they do little, text stories on their website, but that doesn't really count. So at the end of the day, most of the stuff, oh, she's cooking something and it smells good. Oh, I don't know what she's cooking, but it smells good. um, it's something where Pokemon is crushing it. Pokemon has licensees across the board, action figures, cards, everything. I mean, look at everything. Let's put it this way. How many fights for Magic the Gathering booster boxes are you seeing in a Walmart or Target or Costco? How many fights are you seeing for Pokemon? What's it called there? What's the set? Because I collect some Pokemon cards, but really I don't like go crazy like trying to buy and sell and scalp. I just buy certain Gengars and stuff I like. Prismatic Evolution, I think it was called. Ashnud, I'm with you. I love the Magic the Gathering novels. I miss them, but the last two did not sell well. So actions speak louder than words. If something doesn't exist, it's because it didn't sell. War of the Spark and then the sequel book to War of the Spark did not sell well. And I bought those and I loved them. I bought the hardcover ones too. Patrick Brown, we'll find out. Laugh out loud. We need to know what's for dinner. It smells Asian. That's all I could tell you. There's some kind of meat she's making. She's making some kind of stir fry. That's all I can tell you. And it smells really good. Oh my God. Sandy, what are you making? Oh my God, that smells really good. I don't know. She went out today with her friends, like a little dental conference thing with her buddies. And she brought back a whole bunch of food, but it was like, it's like calamari and stuff and everything that she bought. Then she went to some like a white people kind of vanilla restaurant, if you know what I'm talking about, like a TGI Fridays or whatever. So it's like, not a big fan of that stuff. I can make that at home, baked potato, chicken nuggets. Okay. For $17 plus tip. Yeah, all right. But she wanted to go out with her buddies. So it is what it is. But she's now cooking something fierce. So we'll see what that is because that smells really good. Joshua says, I run a comic and card shop. We have dozens of guys come over in the past 2 days trying to reserve the Final Fantasy MTG product. These carts can't wait to spend $1,000 on this stuff. Yep. These cats. Thank you. Sorry, did I say carts? Yeah, man. I'm telling you, like locally here, like I like Final Fantasy, but I'm very picky. I'm very, very picky. I like Final Fantasy 1. I played all the Final Fantasy games up to what was the one with those guys that looked like they were from Entourage? I think that was Final Fantasy 14. I didn't play up to 14. 14 was the last one that I didn't play. Like, and then I just kind of ignored it since then. But I like Final Fantasy, but I'm very picky. I'll buy a lock, card from Final Fantasy 6, maybe some of the other Final Fantasy 6 characters. I'll buy if they do some of the Final Fantasy 1 guys. I know some of them are there. I'll do that. I'll get those, you know, but I'm not going to spend like, oh, special foil booster edition Cloud Strife for like $800. Yeah, okay, for a piece of cardboard. Thank you, sir. I'll just go on with my day. You know, I'll go on with my day. Is it 16? I don't remember which one it was. It's just not that I didn't play because I didn't like it. I just didn't have the opportunities. Just been playing so many other games. Hey, calamari steak done on a grill with lemon crushed almonds is like a delicacy for me. These were the calamaris. They were deep fried though. They're the little deep fried ones, and I was like, no, thank you. I will pass. She got like that and French fries and stuff, and she had extras, and she brought it. 15 is the one with Knox. Thank you. Now I'm starting to, yeah. I think it's 15. You're right. It's that one. The one with the black hair. They're pushing the card at the beginning of the game. That's the one that I didn't play yet. I had friends who played it. They're like, it's okay, I guess. So I was kind of like, And I haven't played the remake yet of 7. I love the original. So, um, but I think the last one I really liked. I liked X2 was okay. X was fine. I loved 9. 9 was great. I think 9 was the one that I was the last one that I really, really liked because I liked 9. I don't know why. I was very nostalgic. And Horned Owl, yeah, that Jumble Cactar. Yeah, I know that's a broken card that's going to get banned the moment that set comes out. If you know Magic, you know Magic. Paul with the $5 super chat. What do you think if the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, the game got a great facelift? Well, again, I like it when they do that only because it's tough to get younger generations to sometimes play those older games. especially when like with the Pixel remasters, when you're talking about 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 should. I think 6 should get a remaster personally, but that's just my own nostalgia for it. I love Final Fantasy 3, aka 6, as it was known in Japan. That's my favorite one. If I had to pick one, it's totally nostalgia. I'm not saying it's better than any of the others. It's just that's the one that I loved the most growing up. I loved 1 and I loved 3, which was called 6 here. Those were my two favorites. So, and I love Locke. If I had to pick a favorite Final Fantasy character, it's probably Locke. And then a black mage like Vivi is pretty cool too. Vincent Valentine, the Turk. Yeah, he's cool too. I have his figure. I have a whole bunch of them. She loves Seven, Sephiroth, Cloud. You know the ladies, they like those guys. So she has all those Play Arts Kai figures there. She has those in her little collection. So they're in as a result, they're in my collection as a result because it's video game stuff. So, but again, it's crazy what people are paying for it. And Hasbro, look, what's going to happen? They're going to go like, oh wow, they're willing to pay $800 for a collector booster of Final Fantasy cards, which is like, where's my phone? Let me double check it before. I don't want to say anything that's incorrect here. So let's take a look. So if there's 12 packs, I believe, and there's only going to be 12 cards in a pack. So you buy a collector booster box for $800 and you get 144 cards. Now again, the potential of value in there, of course, could be good and you can make all your money back if you get some, they'll do some crazy sexy foil, Tifa Lockhart, card and the reality with Magic the Gathering, and I don't care what anyone says, sex sells. It sells. I'm sorry. And that's why we should always put sexy stuff because sex sells. But whenever there's sexy Magic the Gathering cards, what a surprise. Those are also the most valuable cards. The last set that just passed, Ether Drift, look at all the cards that are selling well. It's the anime looking female cards. What a surprise. What a surprise. The market speaks, the open market. Sexy Roth. You got to say it like the music. Sexy Roth. Sexy Roth. One Wing Angel. Advent movie was good. It was okay. Wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. T-Formers 2002 with the YouTube member question, 800 for cards or 800 at a con weekend full of memories. Yeah, well, and that's something where it's like, I mean, I have a limit to what I'll spend on stuff. Like here, I'll show you you want to see one of the last big expenditures I made? It's not even I just dropped it. Oh, good Lord. It's not even thank God it was in a protective plastic. And it's not even geek culture related stuff. I bought some singles of Larry Bird rookie cards. Yeah, that's how small they were back in the day. They were perforated. So I bought a singles of Larry Bird rookie cards, and then I bought first year Michael Jordan sticker. Don't ask what I paid for this one, but you'd be surprised. This was a sticker. You can look it up online. 1985, 1986 Michael Jordan prismatic sticker. Uh, you know, but even then, that Michael Jordan that I just showed you. I dropped some Lego stuff, so I'll put that back. Even that Michael Jordan I showed you, 10% of what that Magic the Gathering collector booster is. So which would I rather own? A piece of basketball history, Michael Jordan, that maybe has a population of 100, or something that's going to be mass produced by the millions and sold $800 a box by Hasbro. So I know where to pick my battles in the long run because I know there's going to be tons of people opening up boxes. There's going to be tons of singles in the secondary market. And then I'm going to be like, oh, there's that lock I want. Oh, the VV. Okay, I'll get those and those. I just buy the singles. That's it. It's crazy to buy the boxes. I understand from an investment standpoint, oh, proto, but if you buy a collector booster and then you keep it sealed, you'll be able to make your X money in like 5-6 years. You are correct, but I'm also over 40 and I don't need to be sitting on something for 5, 10, 15 years. Oh, I'm going to sell this collector booster when I'm 50 and I'm going to make 20% back. Nah, that's okay. That's fine. I could put my investments in a lot of other places than to get like, you know, oh, I'll get 20% more than what this was originally. Yeah, not going to happen. Uh, it's whatever Hasbro send me for free. I'll be happy with that. I'll live with that instead. Gooter, so it breaks down to $5.50 a card. Hasbro prints multiples on each sheet, so probably penny. Of course, of course. Gooter, don't even think about the margins. Don't even think about the margins. Don't even think. Are you kidding me? Laughing to the bank. Laughing to the bank. If you think about the margins, it's gonna make you it hurt your stomach. It's gonna make you hurt your stomach, my friend. That's why I no longer buy Magic the Gathering. It's all expensive now. Magic 30th was. I don't even want to get into that. That's a whole other debacle. If you know, you know. Transformers TCG was singles were cheap. And the Transformers TCG, done through Wizards of the Coast, had an amazing development team. I got to work with those guys in the last 2 years. Shout out to Jason, who was a superb human being, was really fun to work with. And then COVID happened and ruined everything. And that's it. I think if we didn't have COVID, we'd still be talking about the TCG today. You know? The Magic the Gathering Transformer cards were just because the TCG died. And they had art. Hey, we were going to be doing Transformers TCG Shattered Glass cards. Here's the art. We got to do something with that art. Enter Brothers War Magic the Gathering Transformer crossover. There's your story. You know, some of that art was made originally. I know Josh Perez worked on the Bumblebee, and Andrew Griffith worked on, because the unfortunate thing with the Magic the Gathering ones, no one is credited on the bottom, which is stupid. It was all Volta, but that's a whole other conversation. Andrew Griffith worked on stuff. Josh Perez worked on stuff. I have the list somewhere on my computer, like who worked on what. But good stuff. Good stuff. And again, I love working with those dudes. They're all super talented human beings, individuals, and I always want them to get work so they make their money. They're talented, they're creative, and they get paid to doing what they love. So if I could get that to happen in an endless cycle for the rest of your life, I would do that. Tom Laney, so wonder why Magic sells so good and now Marvel cards nowhere to be seen, or DC cards like, geez, I almost slipped there. Like they used to have. So what you're trying to compare to, are you talking about um like just trading cards as opposed to game piece cards? So if you're talking like trading cards, Marvel DC, it still has a market. It's a lot smaller, but Marvel DC Magic the Gathering cards, which are a thing, sold insanely well. When you have it, like there's a difference between, here's another expensive one. There's a difference between a trading card that doesn't do anything, and by that I mean from a gameplay mechanic, and then a trading card that does something from a historical mechanic, and then a trading card is just a trading card. If you get, let me just grab some that I have here on the side here. If you get like a Super Mario card here, these are some Mario movie trading cards. They're bootlegs from Korea. So, and it's funny, it says Mario movie, but the art is from the Mario um, Rabbit crossover. Anyway, these are bootleg Korean cards that just thought they were cool. So, trading cards like this, the value is only dictated by if the person wants it or not. Uh, how rare those cards are, if they're limited, that's a whole other conversation. But there's no historical value because there's no rookie cards per se involved with any of those. You look at a Steph Curry, Wayne Gretzky, whoever rookie card, those have historical value. But then you look at a Steph Curry card that's made today, it doesn't have historical value. And if it's mass produced in huge numbers, then it's $1 card. So it's a little different when you're talking like the Marvel trading cards of back in the day or even today. Like pull out a silver sable I got here. What we got here? So you got like a Larry Bird here. we'll do a little bit of talking trading cards. This Larry Bird is from his third year. It doesn't have a historical significance because it's not his rookie card. It's just an old 1980s basketball card. That's it. Maybe $5, maybe $6, depending on condition at best, right? Here's a Silver Sable card, right? From Marvel Masterpiece, if you remember back in the day, right? Marvel Masterpiece was an iconic set, but it was mass produced in the billions, So a Silver Sable, Marvel Masterpiece 90s trading card, $1. So if it was a Silver Sable rookie card, Todd McFarlane, 1985, 86 was her rookie card. Again, my knowledge is not just Transformers. I think it was 86, Todd McFarlane's trading card set with Silver Sable, Spider-Man. I think it was 86. Her rookie card, PSA 7, 30, 40, $50. There's a historical value there. And it's tied to Todd McFarlane, so that adds value too. So there's kind of that mentality when it comes to trading cards. T-Formers could speak for this because we were both collecting them. Let's talk the limited run Transformer 1 trading cards. These are numbered. There's only so many of them in the world. You can barely see that. There's the numbering on the bottom. So Transformers 1, popular movie within the fandom. So at least fans of Transformers will want it. And then you add to the fact that you have something that is limited, it creates a value. Now, what is the value of those? That could go up and down. When the set first came out and the movie had just come out and the hype was high, yeah, you could probably get $40, $50, $60, $70 for those numbered cards. As time progresses and the hype dies down and it cools off, who knows? They might be $20 cards. I'm not too concerned about the value because I collect. I don't really buy to resell. I just have doubles and I just sell those doubles just so I could get something for them. But, you know, the value, it's always at its peak, and it's always like that. A set comes out, it's brand new, it's the new hotness, everyone buys it, and then it tapers down. And it's like that with Magic, it's like that with trading cards, it's like that with sports cards, it's like that with if you're oh, the Super Bowl is happening this weekend. Guess which players are going to have the most valuable cards? Obviously, the people that are in the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl is done and it's the postseason and everything's over, all of those cards don't have value anymore. I could speak for my friend who owns a sports card store. Anyone who was watching hockey over the past couple of days, the Four Nations, all of the people that were involved in the Four Nations, their cards, specifically their rookie cards, were going for very good money. Once those games are over, they're going to go back to their normal. They're going to even out again. T-Formers 2002, yeah, still meant to pick more up of those. I'm still looking. I'm still trying to complete some sets here and there. But yeah, it is what it is, my friends. It is what it is. Mass produced FOMO. Yep. Well, but that's what again, never fall for that. Whenever there's something that that they're going to be making millions of them, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. Like how many Tasmanian kids probably were sent to every Walmart, every Target, every Toys R Us, every mom and pop shop that probably ordered one case of core class, every single like miscellaneous card store that ordered through Preview World, like there's going to be no shortage of these guys. So if you pre-ordered him and you paid full MSRP, then either you really loved Beast Wars 2nd, which I could be guilty of, or you know, there's ways to find opportunities to save money. Because I know when it comes to the Nintendo guys, these guys are mass produced like crazy by Jax. So, and amazingly, like I didn't even see this in retail. This went straight to clearance in my clearance stores. So it's something where because I knew like these guys are always in mass produced, and whatever I miss, like I didn't see Daisy. Daisy wasn't there, you know. But I know, and you could check right now. If you go on eBay, Daisy's like $7. So there's no shortage of these things. It's good to collect something that you don't have to worry too much about. Uh, but yeah, So always, be smart with your money, guys. I can't stress that enough. Like, we're entering a new era where sometimes money doesn't come easily, jobs could be in jeopardy, prices fluctuating of foods or health or services. You have to always be careful with that. Way too many times I'll see people on the TFW sell forums where, oh, I have car payments out of nowhere. I need an extra $400 out of nowhere. And they don't have that $400, but all of a sudden they're selling every transformer they bought in the last 2 years because, again, they spent hundreds of dollars and hundreds of dollars on this, but they can't pay for that $300 alternator, not the transformer alternator, the actual car alternator. um, Whenever I point like that, because there's alternators above, uh, up there. I don't want to mess with the camera too much, but yeah. So it's you have to be smart with your money. You have to take care of yourselves always with that. Always put money aside. Don't go too crazy when a pre-order drops. I know it's tempting. It's tempting sometimes. We see a Hasbro live stream and then they go, pre-orders have dropped right now on Hasbro Pulse. And then the pre-orders sell out like instantly. And I go, wow. You know, that leader class just went boom. And that was a wave one leader class. Like, we're gonna have problems finding Megatronus? Really? Like, I don't think we're gonna have any problems finding Megatronus for Age of the Primes. But he sold out quite quickly. And I get it. Megatronus is cool. I have the fallen version of it right there of Megatronus, from Titaniums. Cool design, but I'll wait for when it's on sale. It's a wave one product. I'm going to want my Walmarts right now and still seeing wave one products still sitting there. T-Formers 2002. I never checked if anyone actually found any of the autographed TF1 cards. More so, who are those autographs? Were they the Hollywood actors or the Chinese actors? Considering the origin of where those cards came from. That's a whole other question to begin with. And that food smells so good. Butters, what do you think, man? And Butters is chilling back there too. You can kind of see his reflection there a little bit in the glass. But it is, such is life, my friends. But again, so next week it's gonna be Toy Fair. I'm telling you, some stuff is going to get leaked out early. I know that IGN and comicbook.com, they're going to have probably some exclusive on like Friday or Thursday. They're going to show off one or two items, with product descriptions directly from Hasbro. So we're going to have some of that. It's going to be very, 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 very interesting the week coming up. And then the Saturday is when everything's going to get dropped, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun because stuff involved with me, stuff involved with Transformers. It's gonna be a very fun weekend because the cool thing with Toy Fair, it's not just Transformers, it's all the brands we love. So if you're into video game stuff, the video game brand stuff's gonna get dropped. Marvel, DC, Star Wars, the weird stuff. Super 7's gonna be there, so they're gonna have all their weird stuff too. You know, it's gonna be quite nutty. Where's my phone? Well, I already covered my phone. 1 second. Dropped my phone before when I was showing off the cards. Oh, there it is. So it's something where, I mean, to me, the way I see it is we're going to we're going to have a lot of little pocket reveals Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday is going to be the big one, more or less. It's going to be the big reveals of everything. Um, Rudy Mack with the cat. Yeah, the cat is chilling. The cat is chilling, my friend. He actually he went to the vet today. He just had his checkup because he's an older cat. So, I always want to make sure he's healthy. I rescued him from a kill shelter, and he was already 6 years old when I rescued him. So it's and he was happy. He was happy. He's a classic example of a cat that how do I explain this? He Doesn't want to get into the cat box to get there, but once he's there, you know, once he's there, it's a whole other story. You know, once he's there, it's a whole other story. Then he wants to get back out. Rudy Mack with the $2 super chat. I'm still buying that Hot Rod NFT. Hey man, if you're gonna buy it, good luck for you. Like I want it too, but I ain't gonna pay $100. I ain't paying $100 for. Actually, I think it's more than that, but I ain't gonna pay $100 for a Funko Pop. When you have what's it that transforming Lost Light hot rod there, the MAT Atmos, when that thing's like 180 and that thing has die cast and it transforms and it looks gorgeous and it's like a 12-inch figure, and then I'm going to turn around and spend it on instead on a Funko Pop. Again, you got to pick your battles, you know? You got to pick your battles. And Funko is one of those things, man. Like if you buy a Funko for $10, I ain't going to hate on you. It's a $10 item. But if you're spending like 50, 60, 70, $100, $200, it doesn't even go into, oh, it's rare, oh, it's valuable. Just the manufacturing, the thin cardboard box, plastic inlay, and a figure with 1 point of articulation and 7 paint hits on it. Just the margins and manufacturing makes my stomach turn of a Funko Pop, you know? Can't you make your own NFT? I don't know. Someone tried to make one for me. I would never do NFTs. This was a gag gift someone sent me. Official Bint's worthless NFT image. And I just always have it chilling over here as a reminder. You know, I would never do Bitcoin and tokens and stuff like that. That's not my vibe. I do investing, but I wouldn't do it in that. That's the classic pump and dump, you know? Celebrity becomes popular, they make a Bitcoin with their face on it, people invest, and then the celebrity dumps it and screws all his fans. Classic case. And then the classic celebrity then buys a house with all that money of an actual true investment. Um, I never said that it was a wise purchase. Well, then I wouldn't suggest it. I can make my own. Well, yeah, that's what I would do. Guillaume, F that $400 NFT Devastator Funko Pop. Is it $400 for the Devastator one? That's crazy. And you know what's sad? You know what's sad, Guillaume? They're going to probably do a jumbo version, which would make more sense anyways, because a Devastator should be a jumbo. But they'll probably do a jumbo Devastator that'll be like a mainstream one, like they did the Unicron. They did a Unicron one, and I think at one point it went on clearance for like $21 at GameStop, you know? Which that's fine. Jumbo Unicron Funko Pop for $21. I'm fine with people buying that. That makes sense when you nickel and dime it, you know? So that's what it is. Uh where we at? Where we at? Where we at? And you own 0 Funko Pops. Well, why end a good thing? I unfortunately I have quite a few. A lot were sent to me by fans um in little boxes. Butters, what's up, yo? You know, a lot were sent to me by fans. I have the 2-pack that came with the Rodimus. I bought that one. That's the only one I have that I've willingly bought outside of like I bought the Proto Man one from Mega Man. I bought the Bret Hart one from wrestling. I have the Son of Zorn one, but that's only because Son of Zorn had like no merchandise and all he had was a Funko Pop and another Funko item. And I like Son of Zorn. It was actually a funny series. Check out Son of Zorn. I know it got canceled, but it was a good series. Um, what else do I have? I have a Larry Bird Funko figure that they did, but this is like an articulated figure, so I don't count that as Funko Pop, but it's part of Funko, but it's not a Funko Pop. But I have that one. I don't have much. Don't have much. She has a few, but she likes those itty bitty Funkos. So she has like a lot of like the characters that she likes: Baroness, Catwoman, some Batman characters. I think she has the Deadpool one or something too. That's her. That's her vibe. That's her stuff. T-formers. All mine were gifts because family know my interests, and that's the easiest thing. Of course, yeah. I have them because it's people trolling me. I have empty boxes of some of them because people will just send me the empty boxes just to troll me. They'll open up their Funko Pop and then they send me the empty box. The PO box. That's why I don't advertise it. People are like, "Oh, what's your PO box? How come you don't advertise your PO box?" I'm like, "Because I don't want people sending me crap." Yeah, I don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff in my PO box and then I open it up, it's all empty Funko boxes. Yeah. The Funko community are not a fan of the things I say about Funko Pop. James Hopkins, the only Funko I have is the Unicron because I need a Unicron in my collection and I only paid, there you go, $12. And see, for $12, that was a great purchase. In fact, I suggest everyone go out and buy a Funko Unicron for $12 because it was pretty big and it was $12. At the end of the day, hey, a giant Unicron figure for $12, I won't rag on you for that. You know, that's a good deal. Articulated head, that's about all you got, but pretty good. Although the box for it was pretty large, you could throw out that box. Um, but it's wild. It's wild. So there's some, again, I understand Funko's purpose in the grand scheme of things, but in general, people who collect it vividly, there's better ways to spend your money, in my opinion. Because there's guys that spend crazy money on Funko Pop. Because as someone who runs conventions, you have guys spending like 50, 60, 70, $100. T-Formers 2002. I just send you hot rods and the new Nitro convoy. Gee, I wonder what hot rods and the new Nitro convoys. That's a stack of them, by the way. I have one here too. I have my Nitro convoy display. I actually have a Nitro convoy display. It's all the Nitro convoy product throughout the years. Um, if people want to know my three favorite Transformer characters of all time, Hot Rod Rodimus, Nitro Convoy, and Road King from Master Force. And that's what's known as Slapdash here in America. So Road King, Formula One guy. And then, of course, I have a whole bunch of favorite characters. I love the Cheetors, the Dinobots, Beast Wars characters, of course. I like Braver from Transformers Victory. I like Star Saber, obviously. Like there's a whole bunch of what are my B tier and C tier characters I like? I have a huge list of that. But if you have a top three for me, it's those three. Yeah, I like Blue Streak is awesome, Cliff Jumper's cool, Brawn is cool, any Beast Wars character. Uh, Rudy Mack, I'll keep my $12 and go buy pizza. Go to Little Caesars, you could buy two pizzas. James Hopkins, I can mail the box to you if you want. No, please don't. Please don't. Save your money on shipping and save my time having to go to the P.O. box. Please don't. Please don't. Recycle it, send it back to the earth if they actually do. But please do. Do that instead. Just recycle it. Use it for I don't know, use it for something else. My favorite goofiest character. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know. I always felt Hotshot was kind of goofy in his dub, mostly because of his voice acting. T-formers, it is Sea Spray, Tiger Hawk, and Devastator. I guess those are your top three. Sea Spray is a good choice. I like Sea Spray. I like mini bots. The mini bots, I don't know if it was like a mandate by Hasbro back in 85, but it's like they really leaned into the mini bots in season two. Like they gave them a lot of screen time and everything, and it made me love them, you know? Made me love them. It's something where it's like Sea Spray's cool. What do you call it? Power Glide is awesome. Girl Who Loved Power Glide's a great episode. You know, love them. Bot Bodega Proto. Do you foresee minicons in the future? 110%. They're making more Armada. Those Armada guys have holes on them. That's all I'm going to say. 110%. Will they do updated minicons of some of my favorites like Dualor? By the way, who's my favorite minicon? Dualor. I love Dualor. mostly because of the comic book and how he was depicted in it. Uh, grab, there's his cover. Good old Duelor. Great book, by the way. People always rag on Dreamwave comics, but Dreamwave made a lot of good stuff back in the day. You know, I love that Armada run of the Dreamwave comic, and Duelor was cool in it. Love Duelor. Um, which GF character do you hate? I only have one, and it hate's a strong word. I've never was a fan of, and it's like it's a trifecta of things. So the character Night Scream, right? Here's how it goes down in my logic. Don't like his design. I think his design's kind of weird. It's kind of ugly. His toy was terrible. His toy was not sized to the rest of the characters. He was like this huge figure. And the toy aged poorly because the clear orange plastic is super brittle today. So if you own a Night Scream, do not touch it. It will break. It'll bust at his legs and knees, and which make his bat mode and stuff. So terrible toy. He has a little McDonald's toy that's, I guess, okay. It's like he's like this. It's like he's begging or something, or doing like some kind of, mantis move or something from Kung Fu. So his design's weird. How he affects the lore. Oh, Cybertron had organic origins and all that silliness. Not a great character. It's like, oh, we need like another Cheetor character, but not Cheetor. So he's the new young character. So Night Scream is the only one that kind of like, I don't hate him. And again, I don't, and even hate's a strong word. It's just he's one of those characters that if he was taken out of the show, it would do the show better. That's how I say it. Where I can't say that for like any character in Armada. Like if you got rid of Sideswipe, Sideswipe's a weird toy and a weird character. I don't know, kind of like the Sideswipe toy. It turns into a Nissan Skyline. He comes with a cool Minicon gimmick, so I can't really hate on Sideswipe. Like name a classically hated Transformer character, and I'll tell you what I like about them. But Night Scream's the only one where there's too many negatives. And even then, I don't want to say I hate him, but it's like his toy, like Ninjatron, my Ice Cream broke in storage. Exactly. Like that's the thing. It's a terrible toy. It was when the toy was brand new and it wouldn't break yet, it was still a terrible toy. It was like this almost supreme sized, like that's how tall it was, like this supreme scaled, even though it was, I think it fell under the leader price point, not leader, ultra price point at the time, but it was this out of scale figure that now today is extremely fragile. It's an ugly design, ugly character wasn't that interesting in the show, and he didn't really add to the story in a positive way. If anything, he kind of just made stuff more confusing for Transformer lore. So Wheelie I like because certain versions of Wheelie are pretty cool. You might not like his rhyming version in the American dub, but his comic book version's kind of cool. Let me always pull out. Aaron knows exactly what I'm going to reach for. The ever amazing, Earl Norem Wheelie, the wild boy of Quintessa. You know, good old Earl. What is his art back there back in the day? You know, which is getting an homage, by the way, in the G2 Grimlock reissue. Not G2 Grimlock reissue, G2 Grimlock colored release of the leader class. You know, I can't hate on Wheelie. Wheelie's got some good stuff going. Uh, where are we at? Where are we at? No other haters. Lifelong grudge against Hot Rod. Well, people already know where I stand on that one. So, um, no other hater characters. That's why it's tough. It's a tough one. Like there's too many, like Transformer characters always have some kind of positive. There's always some kind of cool thing about them. Even some of like the Mary Sue characters, if you want to call them that, they're still positives, interesting designs. Some people might, oh, I don't like Windblade. Like she's a Mary Sue character. I don't know. I love her design. Some of her depictions in the IDW comics were fun. I like how she was depicted in Cyberverse. She was a cool character in Cyberverse, you know? So good night, Aaron. Actually, it's almost time to go. Oh, Aaron, every time you leave, it's time to go. That's why I didn't realize it. Yeah, wheeling the IDW books was great. You know. Anyways, it looks like it's time to go anyways, because I realize we're at the 2 hour mark. We're actually past it 10 minutes. You can blame Aaron for ending the fun. So we're gonna call it quits tonight. Again, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be the road to Toy Fair New York. There's going to be probably some leaks here and there from some of the partner websites of marketing, the IGNs, the comicbook.com. So we're going to get some of that there. Probably a reveal of some of my stuff I'm working on too. We'll see. I don't know what day that'll be. Stick to the socials, stick to the Transformer Slag podcast. We'll keep you updated, educated, and informed and all of that on what's going on. And yeah, it's been great, guys. Great talking to y'all. Couldn't get answer all the questions, but great talking to y'all again. If you want to support this podcast, we got that Patreon link down there. That's the best way to support the podcast. Gets you into the Discord. If Patreon's not your thing, all those beautiful green names that we saw today asking all the questions, that's the join button instead. If you want to hit that join button instead of the Patreon link in the description. But aside from that, thank you all for the love and support, and I will see you later this week, next week. And then, of course, TFcon coming up, but we're not done yet. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you in the near future. Peace.